Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you find yourself in this weird, wild, wacky world, and welcome to the exciting scene of Odessa, The Dark Crusade, Season 2. This evening's scene will take place upon the walls of Odessa after night has fallen. What can we say? Hmm. Odd parties breed odd bedfellows, particularly the parties I've been to. Oh, I could tell you stories. Anyway, but perched upon one of the parapets, his feet dangling over the drop, Solahdrin will simply wait for his company for the evening to show himself.
Yep, up on the walls. I'll just go and make his way past the guards. I'm sure they'll give him the good old nod. Right this way, sir, or whatever region these strapping young lads are from. And I'll just go make his way past them to see I believe he's in robes. This bald gentleman.
He wears a long black coat, definitely, that covers most of his body. As I've described, they're very well made, but you wouldn't necessarily describe them as noble garb.
So Aldrich approaches in finely made robes, not necessarily nobility, but certainly of a fine quality, in where he could mingle with that crowd and not necessarily be out of place. It's not especially flashy, but finely crafted. It is mostly in blacks, but there are parts of it that are in a wine color of red. And Aldrich arrives with his hands clasped behind his back, and he stands some feet away from Solahdrin and offers him a very etiquette-filled sort of bow.
Solahdrin is not looking at you, he's kind of looking upwards. And he'll say, "Do you ever stop to consider the stars, Master Ulrich?"
Not in a very long time.
It's funny, when one is denied the sun, whatever points of light one can see become more valuable, or so I've always thought.
It's true.
He lets his head kind of loll back as he turns the head to look at him. He will move his hand to the side. He will bring it back around. He will uncork a bottle that clearly contains wine, and he will pour he will pour two measures into two glasses, and he will extend his hand with a glass towards Ulrich.
He'll accept it.
Your health, he'll say as he lifts his own glass.
I'm afraid I will not be able to partake this evening.
Solahdrin will shrug before he himself will drink the wine, and he will say, "Before I discuss what it is that I brought you here to discuss, and there is much that we should discuss," he holds out his hand with three fingers raised, and he'll say, "I have a gift for you, Aldrich the Wise."
A gift, then?
Yes. Whilst we stand here, sentinel against the darkness, neath the stars, I'll offer you three truths to any questions you may choose to ask.
Truly.
Yes? And you have my words that my word before my God, that they shall be truth, and not half-truths or half-measures.
These three questions, or rather these three answers that I shall receive, come at no such cost. Not now, not ever.
No cost is asked, no cost given. It is merely a sign of good faith. So, you may have your questions.
Not asked nor given, but is it expected?
Not at all. They are free of any form of charge.
Afraid I've come a bit underprepared. This is a gift I was not expecting.
Oh, by all means, think. I have the stars to keep me company till you know what you would ask.
Hmm.
He looks back at the stars.
How long have you been in the city of Odessa, Solahdrin?
Give or take, with this name and this face, I've been here for about 20 years or so.
I see. $20 years. So, explicitly, without prejudice,
Hmm.
or perhaps, if you have fancy to it, what have you learned of Clan Tremere in its entirety in these past 20 years in the city of Odessa?
Now that is a very interesting question. People whisper many things. He turns very slowly, and now you definitely see the kind of serpentine movement, so the head kind of bobs ever so slightly as he leans back, and he'll say, "People give words like blood thieves, sorcerers, those who bartered their own lives for parlor tricks, those who cast down the noble three-eyed clan. There are many stories. I know the clan Tremere are powerful, that's why they've been allowed to live. They are not. Hmm. If they were not powerful, they would have been crushed as upstarts. But then I sense the other clans may have tried because it's in their nature to do so. And I sense that you may have seen them off because it makes sense that you're here. So, what have I learned of Clan Tremere? They are not to be underestimated, but you should always respect power.
Truly.
One last question left, Aldrich the Wise. Use it well.
Before I ask my final question,
Hmm.
you stated that you will answer my questions truthfully.
Yes, I swore an oath before set. I don't intend to break my oath.
This is everything you've learned of Clan Tremere, then?
Hmm. Contemplates. He then looks at her and he smiles very widely. You can actually see the tips of his fangs as he says, "There's one statement that we would discuss when we were in discussion. What the flesh crafters craft from flesh, the Tremere craft from stone." Interesting words.
Very much. Interesting indeed.
And your last question, noble sir.
My last question. I assume this question must be asked this evening, but I cannot
Yes.
save it for another time.
No, it must be this evening. Meet these stars. And here. You can keep the answer for as long as you live, but the question must be spoken now.
Aldrich, Aldrich takes one hand from behind his back and just snaps the finger like in a very drat type motion. To definitely, manage a comical display, and he puts that back behind his back after the gesture, and he says, "Right then, I have one last question. What shall I ask?" I've received word of this meeting, yet there's very little I know. What I wish to know is, what are your intentions? What do you wish the end result of this meeting to be?
I think that our clans can greatly benefit one another. I'm not alone in my theories. We are old, older than the pyramids, children of gods when they walk the earth. You are new and powerful, but in many ways you lack knowledge and grounding in terms of what is old, what has been forgotten. Clan Setite would extend its hand in friendship.
What kindness. Something Clan Tremere is not accustomed to.
We have no love for the celebrity. We have no love for failure. We play our games, and our games last centuries. Will the Tremere last? I don't know. You might do. You are new. When I was born, there was no such thing as a Tremere. So, we shall see. But here, in this Edessa, in this place, I sense our enemies are your enemies. So, when one is united, when a blade is pressed against one's throat, it is a good uniting, I think.
Have I enemies?
Your clan does.
Interesting.
But you know this. Disassembling with me is pointless. You see the forked tongue kind of flick, as if he's tasting the air. He's kind of turns, he swirls around, so he's now sitting basically in the lotus position, so his legs are kind of tucked under him as he's sitting on the parapet, so he turns to face you basically, because before he was kind of sitting with his legs dangling over the side. But he'll say, after all, the sins of the father go to the son. And there are some who are very interested in sins.
Is there now?
So he looks at Ulrich, and once again, you kind of the really hypnotic kind of swaying motion as he does, and he says, "I'm curious. You do not need to answer me this question as I have answered yours. But what is what does Clan Tremere desire?"
Interesting question. Very interesting question. What does Clan Tremere desire? I suppose, simply put, to exist.
Fascinating. You want what many others take for granted. I suppose that when you live for thousands of years, it's easy to lose track and perspective.
I suppose so. However, our assistance we may need in our goals, in what we desire.
Yes. He'll reach into his pocket and he'll withdraw essentially a small silken package, and he will toss it to Ulrich.
He will catch it.
Do you open it?
Before he does, he looks Solahdrin right in the nose and just simply asks, "And what is this?"
Aiding you in your goals.
The cost.
I would be unable to give this without payment. What is fair? What is fair? The dialogue is worth something. You can see him contemplating. Once again, the eyes half close as he says, "It is valuable beyond words, but then again, so is this conversation. I will tell you what it is, and if you feel it is worth the price will be a single major boon owed by you to me."
Could you perhaps hint at its contents without betraying the information itself?
Within that piece of cloth lies the ability to banish the evil that you have combated.
Evil that I have combated. I've combated quite a bit of evil in my day.
Yes. The combat that your... Oh, fuck. What was the name of Crystal's NPC? Crap. Lydia? Something? His Tremere NPC.
Ava, Flavia.
Flavia.
Okay.
The evil that your Flavia seems so expert in. That enemy.
I see.
Bound to braziers, or so I believe. That is the key to defeating him.
Interesting. And should I decide not to pay for this? Should I decide to toss it directly back at you?
Then
Would
you
you
have
not?
made... Oh, sorry, continue.
Would you not use it against the demon?
Yours... How would I phrase this? My clan is secure in its power. We may not be popular. We may be snakes. But then again, ultimately, we are not far from our home. If we needed help, we had but to cry out, and snakes defend their young. You are far from yours, in a foreign land. And as I said, I would see us be friends. So, you can throw it back at me if you wish. My clan has no need for the glory of the vanquishing of this thing. It would be but a pretty bauble, but yours, it could buy yours safety. Aldrich the Demon Slayer has a pleasant ring to it.
And he makes a he makes a face at that. He raises his brows and purses his lips a little bit to say, "Could," but he didn't say anything. But he's like, "Yeah, you have a point." Face. And he looks down at the cloth. He doesn't open it. He doesn't turn it around or anything. But he tosses it back.
He'll catch it.
I'm afraid I do not wish to be Aldrich the Demon Slayer. I have no desire for grand glory. Were I would have made an attempt at a position in the court of Edessa. Something quiet. I enjoy my quiet. Us Tremere enjoy our quiet.
But you misunderstand, he'll say as he holds it in a he's not holding it out, but he's definitely holding it in a way that could be easily taken from his hand. So like it's basically balanced on top of his fingers, and he says, "You, I have no doubt, will make a noise. Gerard will insist on it. He's already chastised two individuals for foiling his plan, re the Braziers. For there are two that still remain. He asked me for what information Clan Setite had on these matters. Or rather on the matter of the Braziers. Unfortunately, Clan Setite possesses no real information on the Braziers themselves, as we have yet to properly study them. As a matter of fact, I have been requested to find one, or study. When it is, we break the wards, but that's neither here nor there. My point, Master Ulrich, is that if Clan Tremere slay the demon, whether you do it or not, you will be known as the ones who rid Edessa of a great evil, and those who will casually plot against you will see the fact that you now are armored in the righteousness of a cause, and thus it is much more difficult to plot. Also, I have no doubt of your abilities. You could quite possibly even destroy one of the braziers if you so chose to, but then the demon would just be yanked to the next one. But if you kill it, well, or if you banish or bind it, which this little gift enables you to do, he flicks it around in his hand. Well, once again, you become a hero. There's a value in that. Or your clan becomes heroes. You don't necessarily need to take the glory, but your regent can lord... actually, he wouldn't say that. He'd say your primogen can lord the fact that he did such a great deed, that Clan Tremere is needed, that Clan Tremere is here, that Clan Tremere's sorcery is beyond question. There's a power in that statement, Aldrich the Wise.
There is. But you make the mistake of assuming I need what is in your hands to make that known. And Tremere need only to flex its fingers into a fist, and everyone will know the power of Clan Tremere.
You survived the Salubri. Yes. However, this city is dark and filled with terrors. You let the Wishing Woman openly defy your domain on a daily basis. I've seen her. I've spoken to her. Shh. She is terrifying and beautiful. Yes. But you let her defy your domain and heal the sick with a touch of her hand, because that is what she deigns to do. You are still seen as blood traitors, thieves. But once again, I am only here to offer Clan Setite's friendship. If you don't want to accept our gift, you do not need to. There is no obligation. We are merely trying to help.
But what is a gift at a cost?
Gift at a cost. You see him stroke his chin, and he will say, "Very well. There will be no cost to this gift. Only words, a price of words, cheap words. Simply, the Clan Setite and Clan Tremere will make a public declaration of our friendship. This costs you nothing but air."
I do not underestimate the power of air, my dear Solahdrin.
We've come to how would I phrase this? You asked me what I knew about the Tremere, and I wish to create harmony by answering the question. However, that is what I knew. May I answer again and say what I think?
You may.
These entities you call gargoyles are fascinating. Truly, I mean this. My clan has practiced Aku, the arts given to us by Set, for many generations. Generations uncounted, since the first dynasty. And yet, we've never bred a vampire.
An interesting accusation.
Hmm.
Not one I've not heard before.
One that we can prove.
So there is more that you know about Clan Tremere.
Not that I know. Knowing would require proof, but things I have been told and things that if we were to turn over stones would be interesting. For example, he'll hop down from his stone where he stands. So he's now standing very firmly on the ground, and he'll say, "It was Clan Tremere, whom, or rather, I think that you are more than well aware of the fact that it was in fact Clan Setite who came into contact with one such entity, a gargoyle. We did, in fact."
Interesting. And where, pray tell, did you find this being?
I don't know. He's not actually lying. He has no idea, because Evan also doesn't know.
Oh, you're good, you're good.
He'll say, as I said, it spoke very interestingly. It spoke of what was made by the flesh crafters you crafted in stone, was what it said to my clanmate who found it. It spoke of a womb from which it was birthed. Now, I contemplated this. I meditated on this. I don't believe that you could create the blood, the curse, the gift, however you would phrase it, from nothing. It must have come from something. That makes sense, does it not? Something must come from something.
At least for now.
Yes. But then I thought to myself, I have never seen a gargoyle. It was described to me as a gestalt monster with skin like granite and great bat-like wings. And I thought to myself, well, I have never heard of such a creature up and down the land. And I've been up and down the land. I've spoken to elders who have been here since, as I said, the dawn of the first dynasty. My own great-grandsire, sired by Set himself. So, actually, would it be his grandsire or his great-grandsire? It's one or the other. It is a word. And he said, yet they have never thought of anything. But then I thought to myself, Solahdrin, you fool. What happens when you cross a horse and a donkey? You get an ass. So, perhaps the blood mixed together. After all, gargoyles are hideous. Nosferatu are hideous. And then the stone. Well, when you disassemble it, it becomes rather simple, doesn't it?
I wouldn't know.
I'm going to P&E that statement. You cool with that, Robbie?
Sure, sure.
By the way, Chris, are you actually there? Bishop.
Chris?
Bishop.
Exist.
Bishop?
Exist?
Yeah, I'm muting himself for a second. Okay. Have you been listening to the conversation?
Yeah, and so far I missed like the first 5 minutes, but
Oh, that's fine. Like, I'm just saying, if at some point I've taken a leap that is just stupid, just yank me back with a choke chain.
okay.
So for my sake with rolling, because I need your help too, Chris. Aldrich Aldrich doesn't know the right to make gargoyles. His interaction with them has been relatively limited. Would you say based on I don't know, is it plausible to say that he honestly doesn't know what happens when you disassemble a gargoyle in that fashion?
Disassembling one. Well, that's an
I think
experience.
I think you mean in the process of making one.
Yeah, you have enough occult and Tremere lore to know what they're generally made from.
Mm. Well, no, absolutely. Aldrich knows how they're made. What I was thinking of was Solahdrin was asking what happens when you pick them apart.
Oh,
Oh, no,
that's
he was saying, he was basically saying what is his response is his response was it was more so he was asking is his it does from your perspective, what do you think of his theory about mixing the blood together? Does that hold water when you break it all down? That was what he was asking. Sorry, my brain is made of mush today.
Okay. May I alter my answer based on that then?
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely.
Okay.
As I said, it's late here, so my brain is kind of going. Vroom.
Aldrich says, it is an interesting theory, though I suppose with one hole. These beings, if what you say is true, if they have skin of stone, that perhaps not mean that they are made of stone.
Made of stone, but with kindred blood. We've checked. He smiles and he says, "But once again, Master Aldrich." He leans. Ah, Solahdrin has achieved leaning, which means he gets to be sassy. He'll say, "I had contemplated something. Why is it that I hadn't heard about missing kindred in the city? I hadn't, until one foolish Assamite decided to speak in public. Shh. After all, if you needed blood, you need to get the blood from somewhere. And notice, you and I are having this very pleasant conversation. I'm not necessarily speaking about it in an unfriendly manner, because frankly, if I cared, I might, but I don't. You do what you do. After all, he taps his chest, am a warrior of my clan. I am bred to fight, and I am bred to die in the service of Set. That is my purpose. And if you were beset by enemies, if you were the enemy of many, for just simply existing, would you not look to create your own warrior to defend yourself? And a warrior of stone, with the abilities of a kindred, well, it seems entirely logical.
Excellent in theory.
Yes, and if I was to march now to the Primogen Council and voice this theory, there would be dissent, they would demand evidence, but there would probably be enough for an investigation. And I personally have no interest in this. As I said, I wish Clan Setite and Clan Tremere to be friends. I much prefer friends to enemies, Master Aldrich.
I see. What an interesting note to make friends upon. Accusations, thievery.
The price of truth and the price of immortality. After all, if the rumors are right, you stole blood once. What's the second time? I believe, as I said, in power. Lord Aldrich, mine is a god of power. Weakness is cast aside. Self is cast aside in service. Your clan have proven powerful enough to swat off their enemies, to exist. They have the right to exist because they have won it. Because they did not ask, they took. That is to be respected. That is respected. I am merely pointing out that there are certain individuals now who poke their noses in. This Assamite boy, for example, investigating. His clan bear you no love, and mine neither. They would see us all meet the dawn. Awkward silence.
So this is your proposal, then? To withhold relative information in return for friendship, publicly declared friendship, Clan Tremere.
Master Aldrich. He turns and he says, I have no intention of revealing this information one way or the other. You can P&E him if you'd like.
That's okay.
Okay. As I said, I'm merely able to see the world in a different way. I see cracks, I see breaches, I see bruises, I see pain. Because that is what I'm raised to see. If I have seen this weakness in the chain, others will too, in time. I don't know if this Assamite or those whom he works with. I'm led to understand he has a very close friendship with Clan Gangrel, that Torvald creature. I don't know if Clan Tremere has snubbed Clan Gangrel or... interesting. But I would merely wish to be the friend of the winning side.
Indeed. It's always good to have friends.
As he looks out across the darkened farmland, he will he's going to hold out the small package again. He will say, then no boons, no false words, except a gift with no strings from a friend. If you choose to make a declaration after this, that is your decision. Our Primogen can meet, exchange pleasantries. That is how these things are done. There is old etiquette. But I would seek to be your friend. So, no strings, no whispers, no words, merely friendship.
Interesting. Very interesting. And he looks down at what's in Solahdrin's hand and says, so if I'm to understand the arrangement correctly, you now wish to give what once had a price with no price. Requires no heir, no nothing, no expectation, no word, no time of delivery, nothing.
As I said, I prefer to see a winning side. And in some future time, even Aldrich the Wise. If our clans become enemies, then anything can happen. Perhaps you'll remember a service done under the moonlight, neath the stars, on a wall of forgotten Edessa.
I will say this. I do wish to be friends, and I mean that with all sincerity. I don't wish to be enemies with anyone, nor does Clan Tremere. After all, we've proven to be upstanding members of Cainite society. We have given resources for the betterment of the city of Edessa. Our people have done great things to ensure its survival, its prosperity. We continue to defend it and advise those at the top who shall accept such advisement. But with friendship, one inherits a certain score of enemies. You understand why such a public display, such a grand proposition, could very well cause quite a bit of trouble for Clan Tremere.
Ultimately, Clan Setite have as many friends as they do enemies. We are friends with everyone who will be friends with us. The only people who have shown your clan outward scorn since I have been here, who've spoken whispers, and many of the whispers I have spoken come from their lips, are the judges. They will never see you as anything more than the sin of your creation, because that is all they can see. The blindness of Hakim is an interesting malady. But they are also our enemies. They have been since time immemorial. So, I merely wish to strengthen Clan Tremere's position, because, as I said, we have no real enemies here. The low clans think of us in many ways as, how would I phrase? They've always looked upon us well. The Bruja look upon us well because we are. The Ventrue look upon us well because, well, they somewhat have to. We have our influences. We have much power. And so, this is what we are willing to offer in form of our friendship. To help you stave off those who still whisper the words usurper.
Real quick, Chris, you there? Chris?
He is. I sense it just takes him a while to tab back to the hangout, basically, to unmute himself.
Gotcha. Facebook PMs?
I'm sorry, that took so long.
No, you're good. Facebook PMs?
Yeah. Here you go.
This may take a minute, Evan. Sorry.
Oh, we'll take your time. So, while you guys do this, I'm just going to go quickly grab a drink.
For sure.
On the side note, doing that kind of really like voice that I do whenever he's actually being serious is pretty interesting.
sending you PMs, by the way, Robbie.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm watching it. I don't know. It must not have updated that yet. Well, I'm looking. Are you back, Evan? No? Okay. All right.
I am now back.
There you are. Oh, hang on one second. I was ready.
Don't worry. Hashtag it's this moment when Aldrich just says roll initiative and everything gets sad.
No. As I've told you before, I've no desire for PvP.
Cool.
Just so we have it straight. The last time, yes, as Aldrich's been looking at what's been offered in his hand, he's Solahdrin has said, like, just have it, and if you want to declare us as friends or allies or whatever, that's on you. If I'm understanding that correctly.
Basically, he said, yeah, if you choose to do that, that is on you. We are doing you a major solid. at some point in the future, maybe if I am ever in your power, you will look kindly on me. But he's not asking for anything like definite or actually nailed down, essentially.
Yeah, that's all. That's all I can say on the matter.
Okay. Yeah. Aldrich says, perhaps there is something else I can offer you.
Oh.
There are services that my clan can provide. It is well known that there are clans that have taken up such services. Those clans currently prosper.
You wish to sell us magic, Aldrich the Wise?
Not sell. Trade.
You will contemplate.
Though I'm trading for that.
I beg your pardon?
He said I'm trading for. Oh shit! Did I cut out?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh shit! He says I wish to trade for that, and he's gesturing to what's in Solahdrin's hand.
Oh, so you wish to not be beholden as if you have paid the price?
I wish to pay a price. I wish to pay it now.
What can you offer? You can offer sorcery, but that is not exactly exact.
This is true. I could offer you a blade. When pulled from its sheath may burn. You may strike your enemies with the power of fire. At your will.
This we already possess.
You see.
I'm not sure if Aldrich knew the Setites did blood magic or not. Actually, hang on, Chris. Actually, this is something I do need to clarify. Chris. Yes.
Wow.
I'm just gonna. Nah, no buoy. Have the Setites kept the fact that we do blood magic really close to our chest? Because I know we don't sell it because we see it as like sacred.
I mean, sorcery has been. Its services have been traded in the past, not the actual tutelage in it. Both clans keep that obviously very close to their chest. They don't tell anybody how to do something. But they can. But they have been like, here's an enchanted item like that we have that we can trade with you, or something like that, or something that they have created or done or can do with their sorceries, rather than just trading the sorcery outright, rather than the outcome of it or the results.
Okay, cool. He will say, "This is something we possess. Is there anything else you may offer?"
There is something, but it is less material.
Oh.
Yes. Oh, there's just. Is that you, Chris?
There's background noise.
You playing Spider-Man?
One second, let me
If it helps, I'm now going to forever think of Chris as Spider-Man.
Spider Cop.
But he says if I accept this, and he again gestures to what is in Solahdrin's hand, this opens a door.
I agree.
The door that I wish to open is perhaps creating an arrangement, a relationship, one in which you and I can meet, or perhaps our primogenists can meet. We have the delegation, whatever that is to be determined. But Our clans can speak. Our clans can trade. Our clans have a business arrangement, let's call it. Clan Sedite is quite favorable upon business, are they not?
A snake who does not know how to hiss, how to speak, and how to deal is not a snake for very long.
Then I propose this. In exchange for what would certainly mean an end to a threat that is a threat to us all. Clan Setite and Clan Tremere will be able to do business like walking into a bazaar, but on friendly terms, on none uncertain, on fair ground, with honor.
He contemplates. He will nod his head once. He opens the package with a kind of he opens a little string. And he removed a very small, like this was probably about the size of your hand, piece of silk cloth. You can tell the cloth has been ripped in two, clearly. And the cloth itself is speckled with what appears to be dried blood. And he will say, I accept your offer. And here, as promised, this is the demon's anchor, his blood. With this, you have power over it. And he'll hand it out to Ulrich.
And he will accept. Interesting. Demon's blood, you say?
Taken by my clanmate when we gave it a grievous wound during our last engagement.
I see. I am remiss to inform you. Out of character, remiss might be the bad word. I must, there we go. I must unfortunately inform you. Whatever damage you have dealt to this being, it has since recovered from.
Oh, I have no doubt of that. But the blood is still link. It bled it. It is part of it, or it was. The two form a link together.
This is true. You have my thanks, Solahdrin of Clan Setite. I look forward to doing business with you in the future.
May your footsteps be ever found in moonlight, Lord Ulrich.
And yours on solid sand and sure footing. And he offers his hand to shake.
He will shake it. You'll probably notice, because it's very hard not to. He clearly has potence, but he's not using it to like crush your hand. So it's like a really firm handshake.
Ulrich is not very firm, but it is very wrinkly.
Wrinkly! Yeah. And with that, if Chris is happy, we can close the scene, I think.
Yep.
The two sets of invisible bodyguards never actually had to do, the kung fu hustle.